Hey guys, my name is Caitlin and today I'm bringing you another series review, and this time the series that I'm reviewing is Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. It's about time that I did a review on these books because I finished them about 5 weeks ago on holidays and I still haven't reviewed them. And I'm just praying that I haven't forgotten what I was gonna review about. So, yay, let's get into this. So as I showed you guys in an earlier video, Throne of Glass was the next book that I picked out of my little TBR jar. So I read this series over the holidays. I read the first book in about a week or so, Crown of Midnight in 2 days, Air of Fire in 4 days, and then Queen of Shadows in 3 days. Determination! I mean, I didn't get out of bed on like any days on the holidays because I was too busy reading these books. Yeah, I have a problem. So if you don't know what Throne of Glass is about, it's about this assassin named Selena Sardothian who comes to the Glass Castle to compete for her freedom. She has to fight against 23 other thieves, assassins, warriors, all those kind of villainy people in order to become the king's champion, and then she'll be released from her prison sentence. However, then the other champions start kind of dying off one by one and things get pretty gruesome and shit happens. And it's a freaking amazing series. It's, oh my god. It has become one of my favorite series since I started reading it. As soon as I finished reading Queen of Shadows, I just wanted to go back and start reading it straight away, but I knew that I'd feel terrible for doing it, so self-control, somehow I stopped myself. Yeah, Throne of Glass, it's an amazing series. Like, as soon as you open that first page and you read those first few words, it just kicks off running and it doesn't stop. You don't realize how amazing this book actually is until you've just put it down and you're just thinking, holy shit, what did I just read? There are no real words to describe how amazing this book is. Now I'm going to be getting into my whole series review, so if you haven't read the Throne of Glass series yet, I'd recommend not watching this rest of the video if you don't want to be spoiled and everything that happens, but if you don't mind being spoiled, then stick around. Bye to people who don't want to be spoiled. Anyway, back on for the people who have read the series or don't mind being spoiled. So in Throne of Glass, like when you're first reading it, I was friggin' shipping Selena and Dorian from the get-go. As soon as they were talking and she's like, oh, really handsome Prince Dorian and everything, and she's like an assassin and he's royalty, and they're like talking and I'm like, yeah, you guys are gonna get together, like OTP. Pray to Lord Jesus that you will start dating. And then we start reading from Dorian's point of view a couple of times, like when Selena's looking up at the stars and everything and he's just sitting up and he can see her and it's like, my heart is failing. Oh my god. Goals. It was legit goals. I really loved like how much of badass Selena was in Throne of Glass, because with books that you read nowadays, yes, girls are sometimes badass, like, but there aren't many books that we read where girls are assassins. Like, they're more kick-ass than the guys in some cases, and there's no real damsel in distress moments with these characters because they can look after themselves. They don't need anyone to look out for them as much because they know what they're doing. Like, you get in their way, you'll die or be maimed or seriously injured. Selena, I freaking love her. She was such a good main character. I loved reading from her point of view. Everything was just amazing in this novel, and then like all this magical shit starts happening, like people start dying and Kane's like got the ring, the black rings, what were they made out of? Was it obsidian? I don't remember. This is what I get for not doing a review when I first read the book. But yeah, those rings, like what the hell? As soon as I said that the king was wearing a ring and then Duke Parrington was wearing a ring and Kane was wearing a ring, I'm like, oh my god, something's going on with these rings. Like you kind of guess straight away that something is happening, but you don't exactly know what's happening. But like, this is the part that bugs me. Like, I just knew straight away, and I knew that they were all connected somehow, and I knew that Kane, wow. And I knew that Kane was connected to all those murders that were happening with the champions, but I didn't know how, and I didn't know how to piece it together. But then the frickin' like, I didn't even know how to say, like the Riderack, whatever it was called, frickin' came out, and then Selena was like fighting it and she killed it with Damaris, and then Nehemia's there like staving her ass and everything, and it's just like, Oh my god, so much went down in this book and it was freaking incredible. But then we move on to Crown of Midnight. And when you look back on it, not much actually happened in this novel, because mainly it's Nehemia dies, which freaking annoyed me. I cried because I really loved her. Hale and Selena get together, which, you know, ships change book per book. First one, it was Selena and Dorian. Second one, it's Selena and Cale. Third one, it starts off Selena and Cale, but we'll get to that in a minute. And so yeah, they get together, but after Selena dies, it's like a lot of time is spent with her just being an assassin and going around with Archer Finn and trying to like solve everything, and she's killing a lot of people and all that kind of stuff. She's seeming like she was before she became the King's Champion, before she was sent to Endovia, like going into that killing calm and everything. And she just seems even more badass in this. Like, you're hurting on the inside because of what she did to Cale and everything. But like, he should have told her, and then she tried to kill him, so maybe that was taking it a bit far, but her best friend did just kinda die. But then in the end of the novel, when like she just goes into like the portal thingy and she becomes her Fae form, and then everyone's just staring like, what the f, she has magic, and you're just thinking, what is this? She has Fae form, like she was part of the Fae? And you get to the end and like Cale says I love you when she's being shipped off to whatever the hell that other place's name is. I've already forgotten what it's called. He says I love you and she just says I'm sorry, and before she leaves she whispers something in his ear, and he goes back and like looks at the dates of what happened, and it says that like Aelin died or was like presumed dead or something, and he discovers that she's Aelin Galathinius, and he's like, oh my god, like foreshadowing, there we go, when she tried to kill him, and she's like, we'll always be enemies, and everything just like shit goes down, and he's like, oh my god, no wonder she said that, because I'm the captain of the guard for the king of Ardalan, and I've just sent like our enemy over to the other country where she can potentially become the queen and just kick all our asses. And you're just thinking, mind blown! How the hell did we go through 2 whole books and not figure out that she was Aelin Galathinius, that she was the queen of Terrassen? If anyone figured that out, I applaud you. Bless your soul. How did you find it out? I have no clue. I did not see that coming a mile away. Like, you could have slapped me in the face with it halfway through the first book and I still wouldn't have even noticed. So in the beginning of Heir of Fire, I wasn't too fond of like the split point of views. I really loved it in the first 2 books when they were together. Like, you'd read from Selena's point of view, but Cale would be there and Dorian would be there, but you start off reading from Selena's point of view and none of them are there. She's lying on a rooftop, eating retarded food, drinking whatever wine she has left, and she smells like a hobo. People think she's a hobo. And then we meet Rowan, and you're just thinking, who the fuck are you? Why do you look like that? I don't like you. You can go away. But then when it skips point of views, and it goes to like Manon and the witches, personally I didn't like reading from the witches. There were some where I found them vaguely interesting, but overall I felt like they were just chucked in there so that we could kind of know what was going on from both sides. Well, that was pretty cool. It was also kind of annoying. I felt like it wasn't really necessary, or at least it could have been made a little more interesting. So during this novel, I was emotional. I don't know why, but I was just lying in bed and I was reading this book, and we got to the part where Rowan and Aelin, like, they'd been training for a while together, but then like Aelin goes up and he tells her to like go away, and she's like, I have no one, like you left me, I have no one, and she actually realizes that she has no one. And the following morning she goes down to like breakfast with Luca and Emerys and all those people, and she's really mean to them, and then she goes out, and I started bawling my eyes out at this part. I don't even know why. And then we switch to Rowan's point of view where he comes down and Emerys is like, what do you do to that girl to make her come in here? Like, she has no hope or anything. Like, you've just ridden her of all of those qualities And I'm just sitting here blubbering, like I was reading it out loud, because if I'm just reading and I'm really invested in a book, I find that I actually skip certain parts. So I was reading it out loud and I'm bawling my eyes out and I'm just here like I had my tissue box right next to me and I had like tissues like stuffed under my chin like this so that they wouldn't drip down my neck and get my shirt all wet and slimy and everything was feeling gross, and like it wasn't a pretty sight, and it went on for a very long time. Like I had to put the book down and I still was just crying like a mad thing. I couldn't stop crying. Like I'm just sitting there going, why am I crying? I'm not even sad. Ooh, Lord Jesus. Like Aylin, she starts transforming into her fae form a lot more easier, and she's controlling like her fire magic and everything's just getting really exciting. I'm getting excited just talking about it because I really want to reread this series right now. Then you've got certain parts where like you meet the skinwalkers and her and Rowan are just kind of there like trying to get away from it, and he's helping her, and like the scene where they had like those weird things like the Valg princes and they tried to distract him with the skinwalkers and they're up in the tree and he's just holding her. Like certain scenes like the bonfire, I freaking loved that scene, how she lost control over her magic, and although that wasn't a good thing, the aftermath I loved, because even though he kind of saw her naked, I loved how he saw the scars on her back, and then you read from his point of view, just realizing everything that he'd done and the ways that she retaliated weren't only because that was just her personality, but because of her past and what had happened to her. And he's just realizing everything that she's gone through, that she's not just some girl who'll like throw a tantrum if she doesn't get her way. Things have been done to her to make her react in those ways, and it was really cool just reading from his point of view and being able to see all those different thoughts coming together, him piecing together things that have happened while they've been training with each other. And I really loved that part. Like I went back about 3 different times and read through that entire part over and over again because I just loved it so much. And then the battle that they had where she'd learned to control it, and it was a massive battle and they were betrayed by some other guys and everyone was getting like slaughtered inside, and she's like, I'll stay here, like I'll help the wall and the wards and everything, and the Valg princes are there and she's fighting them with her firepower, but then she gives up, and you're just watching there like, oh my god, no, like Rowan's inside and he's like, wait, where is she? Like, how's she going? And he's trying to get outside, but his friends won't let him get outside, and we're just like, just let him get outside, like she needs help right now. And oh my god, I'm getting too excited over this. She gives in to the Valg princes because she's just that exhausted, but then like going through her mind and seeing like her come back and being able to fight them like with that last of her fire and everything, and it's like, woman, you're my, like, goals. Speechless. That is what I am when it comes to trying to describe that moment in the book. I am just speechless. So much happened in this book it felt like such a short amount of time, because I did finish reading this book in 3 days, like I said earlier, and I feel like I could have savored it a bit more, made it last a little bit longer, but it felt like so much in such a little time, and yet I loved every single second of it. Sorry about that. My friend called me. Yay! But anyway, back on to the review. So Rowan wasn't in the beginning of Queen of Shadows, and I kind of missed that because I really loved reading about Rowan. Like, he's such a fun character to read about and to read like from his point of view and everything, but Selena asked him to stay over in Nether Country, but then she gets back, and I'm like, oh my god, like Kale, like her and Kale can be good friends and everything because Dorian's fucking got the Valg collar around his neck. But like, yay, 2 of the trio are there and they can be friends and it can be goals again. And then he's like, all this is your fault because you're the fucking Queen of Terrassen, you left when all this shit went down, and it's all your fault. Just have a message for you, Kale. There's a hidden one behind this phone. Aylin, she rescued Aiden, and Nezrin was there, and even though Dorian was a Valg prince at the time, he was still there. And they're walking through the streets and everything after Aiden's healed. And, my god, this guy, I'm tearing up right now, can you see this? Guy just appears, and then you just hear like Aelin is just so excited, and she runs up to him and she's hugging him and she starts crying, and Nesrin's like, who is that? And he's like, it's Rowan. It's Rowan, I'm done. I'm legit gonna cry because this was like such an emotional time. Freaking love that scene. And I loved how reading from like both of their point of views, you could see how much like they wanted to be together and how much they missed each other and everything. And even though you didn't find out that Rowan really did miss her until a bit later in the novel, it was like you kind of knew. You had the slight feeling that you knew, and if you didn't know, you were wishing that he did. And you wished correctly, your wish came true. But I really loved just reading it and then being able to see their connection and see how deep that connection was and everything that was just going on between them. Anything that concerned Aelin and Rowan, I was there. I wanted to know about it. I was all over it, dude. All over it, because the ship has sailed. That was probably also, while it was one of my favorite things in the novel, it was probably also one of my least favorite things in the novel, because I get that they were like they were distanced from each other, and I get why that whole thing was going on. But as a sucker for romance in novels, I wanted nothing more than for them to just get together quicker so we could have more Aelin and Rowan moments. But then there was one point of view from the witches that I actually really enjoyed in Queen of Shadows, and that was when Aelin was fighting Manon, and you got to read from both point of views. And Rowan freaking got shot, and she goes back and she saves Manon, and all this stuff goes down. And it's so exciting! And I really loved it. I really did love it. When Lysandra first came into the novel, we didn't know who she was. I'm pretty sure she wasn't in any of the earlier novels. I don't know. If she was, then bad me. But anyway, I liked how we found out that she was a shapeshifter, and then when Rowan and Aiden were fighting like down in the tunnels and everything, she turned into the ghost leopard and then just like ate them all and everything, and then she puked on someone. Forgot who she puked on. Oh, it was the shit. It was Rowan's friend, the one who was like hunting down Aelin and everything. And that reminds me of the moment when like he and Aelin were there and he was like threatening to kill her and everything, and she's like, oh, for someone who's like really old, you should be more aware of your surroundings. And then Rowan comes in and like Superman saves the day. I've said this before, no words can describe my love for these books. I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Please read these books if you have not read them. If you have, I will willingly read them again with you. I will read them again for you. Anything with these books, I freaking love them. But I'm sorry, I feel like I've rambled on enough and I haven't really had a line that I've been sticking to. I've just kind of bounced between places as we've been going along. So if you made it to the end of the video, congratulations, I applaud you on your efforts. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, wow. If you want to subscribe, then go ahead and click that button down below. I'll leave the links to these books on Goodreads down below if you want to check those out, as well as all my social media links. I haven't actually drawn a book out of my little tub back here. Where is it? Back here. I haven't actually drawn a book out of this tub in a little while on camera, but I needed to read something straight away after reading the Throne of Glass series, and anything else that came out of that jar, like that put me in a reading slump. I want Empire of Storms so bad. I wanted the Assassin's Blade so bad because I still haven't read it. I have it now. It's down here. It was in my last haul if you haven't seen that yet. So I still need to read that. And I've pre-ordered Empire of Storms, so that's getting here next month. But I couldn't wait. I needed to pick out something, and the only other book that I felt like reading was Vampire Academy. So I looked through my tub until I found Vampire Academy, and now I'm reading it. And I have finished the first one, and I'm up to Frostbite right now. I have read Vampire Academy several times, so I'm not sure if I'll do a review on it. If you want a review, let me know. If not, I'll just keep making tag videos until I read a book I can review. Now I've definitely rambled on long enough, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. My cat's meowing outside my door. This is my kitty. Kitty. She doesn't like being held that much. Oh.